Okay guys, welcome to the next Blender tutorial. So today we're making a little potion jug again, different style from the one that we did last time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, delete my default cube. I'm going to go ahead and just go and get some of these screencasting keys back on. So what we're going to start with is a circle. You might want to just scale this up just so it's a little bit bigger so that you can see what's going on. We're going to go to edit mode and we want to go F for fill. And we're going to go E for extrude. In fact, you know, I'm going to split the screen in half so you guys can see the side view. We're going to E for extrude, scale outwards. And then we're going to go E for extrude again. And we're going to scale outwards on this side. Just make sure that it's roughly around the same angle as the prior one. We're going to go E for extrude again, scale outwards just slightly, E for extrude. And then we're going to go E for extrude again, just scale inwards ever just so slightly. Then we're going to go E for extrude, scale inwards, and then E for extrude. We'll scale inwards again just to make the bottom of this. E for extrude. Then we want to make kind of a nice little curve just right here. So we're going to go E for extrude, curve it in, E for extrude, curve it in again just ever so slightly. What I'm going to do, go on the X-ray mode, just select these. I'm just going to make these just slightly bigger and then this section just slightly bigger as well, just on that side. So, selecting the top face again, we're just going to go E for extrude and go straight up. So at this point, what we want to do is I'm going to go Control R, just loop cut it right there, just shade this in just ever so slightly so we've got that little variation in the glass. Select your top vertices again. We're going to go E for extrude, just slightly, and then slightly bring it out. E for extrude again, keep it where it is, slightly bring it out. And then we're going to go E for extrude on top, E for extrude, just scale it inwards. And then E for extrude, scale inwards again, and just make that little bevel around the edge. Now we're going to go E for extrude straight down. But what we want to do is what's going to X-ray so we can see what's going on. So the best example right here is at the side view, which is number pad 1. So we're going to go G, bring it down to the midpoint. You want to make sure there's a little gap just between these. So bring that down. E for extrude again, bring it down. Maybe scale it outwards just at this point just to match the outside of the glass. E for extrude again, scale it outwards. E for extrude, scale outwards. And then from this point on, we just want to go E for extrude. Just follow the glass just round. And then E for extrude. And what you want to do towards the bottom of this glass is just make it a little bit thicker. Just around here. So we're just going to go E for extrude, E for extrude, scale it inwards, then E for extrude again, and we're just going to go and scale it inwards so that it's got a nice round bottom to it. So speaking of bottoms, we want to go and come off your X-ray mode for one moment, take this bottom right here, go E for extrude again, just scale inwards, and then what we're going to do from here is E for extrude, leave it where it is, scale it inwards slightly, E for extrude, bring it up, scale inwards, and then E for extrude, and then we scale inwards again just to kind of make that nice and smooth right there. So now we've got this nice little pot going on. So what we're going to do is just right click, shade smooth. If you haven't already, change your EV to cycles. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a mesh, a plane. So what I'm going to do, I think my dog's just figured out how to open the door. So I'm just going to add a plane to the bottom so you guys can see the glass. Yeah, my dog's a husky crossed with a collie, and he's incredibly smart. He knows how to open things. So I think he's just opened the door to the dining room. Right, so once we get to this point, we're going to go to material. We're going to go new. Let's go to glass, and then we're just going to change down the roughness just a little bit. And once we go to the render, Sorry, you don't want this one as glass. I've put the wrong one to glass. Sorry, ignore me. Right, make sure that's a white material right there. Select your glass. Let's go new. Let's go with glass for this one. If I spelt that correctly, that'd be great. Right, yeah, so take your printable SDF. We'll go to glass. Take down your roughness. We now have this nice little beaker going on with glass. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a sun so you guys can see what's going on right there. So, at this point, we want to put a cork in the top of it, so we're going to go to add, go to, let's not go with cone actually, let's go with cylinder. Just press G just to bring it up. I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the side, and then we'll use this side just for the building. So, when you do your cork, we're just going to scale this down, make sure that it just fits the edge of the bottle right here. Just going to press G, bring it up. Let's go to edit mode. Take that bottom face right there. We're just going to go E-fret extrude, scale it downwards, give it that little bit of a bevel just on the end. And then for this side, what we can do is we can go E-fret extrude, scale it inwards. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and select all of these faces right here. If you do it on X-ray mode, it works even better. Come on. Right, there we go. So then I'm just going to rotate it just on its side so it's got that little bit of a bevel going on. And also it's a little bit of a wonky cork. Shade that smooth. We're going to go on to new texture. Just bring that down slightly. Now what you can do, you can go onto the shading tab and we can do a noise texture. Just right here, so colour to base colour. So you notice all these little points start showing up. So this is going to be for the cork texture. So we're going to add and go to bump. Bump texture right there, colour to height. So now we've got this nice little bump texture going on. We now want the colour ramp, spelt the American way. And then add. And then we'll go with the brown just on here. You can change up the roughness a little bit on this too. So now we've got this nice little cork inside of this bottle. You just want to improve that brown just a little bit. I'm going to take down this light actually. I'm going to just, let's see, set this light right here. And I'm just going to turn the strength down, so maybe to a 10. Or a 20. Actually, I'll go 30. Let's see what 30 looks like. Maybe a 50? 100? 100's pretty good. Let's go 200. See if that improves. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we've got the 200 on there. So at this point right now, it's a little bit too bright. So I'm just going to go ahead and improve that just slightly. And just bring the black in as well. You could also put a little bit of liquid in the middle right here. So if we go to layout, we've got the side view right here. If we go to add, go to cylinder. So we've got the cylinder right there at the bottom. Make sure the cylinder just sits just here. We'll go on to edit mode. Just get the wireframe up for this one. Take your top face right here, press G, bring it down. Scale outwards. E-fret extrude. Scale outwards. Just follow the inside of your jar right here as best you can. E-fret extrude, scale outwards, E-fret extrude. We'll go scale outwards, and then E-fret extrude, bring it up, and then E-fret extrude at this point, if it'll let me. We could just go ahead, extrude it into that void right there. So once we've got this, we can then shade smooth, go to new. We can have this as a random colour in the bottom of it. So we could do an orange if you wanted to. Turn up your metallic, turn down your roughness, turn down your alpha as well. And then once we go to the render, we now have this little kind of potion jar with a little bit of liquid in it and a little bit of reflection going on in the background. So yeah, you could also improve this as well. You could go to edit mode, we could go Ether Extrude, you could fill it all the way up if you wanted to, just to there. And you can also improve your alpha a little bit, make that a little bit more deeper. So this little line that we've got going on right now is because the background is quite short. So if you wanted to, you could put some walls up, you could put some little lights on top, make this a little bit reflective. Let's go ahead and add a plane. Or we could add a cube actually. A cube would probably work this for wonders. Actually no, let's not do the cube. I think it's because it's a sun kind of thing, so we could do plane, scale that up, and then we could do rotate 90, scale that up, and then G, place this on one side, just here, and then we could have another one just on this side. And then we could go, let's see. So, if I put the camera just here, let's go with align view to camera. Press G, bring it back. So we've got it just there. So if we have these off camera, we could go ahead, take this one, Shift D, rotate this by 90, scale outwards, and then we could just bring this back into the piece, scale it upwards as well. We should have a little bit of a reflection going on within this. So, what I'm going to do, take these two as well. Just scale these in. And then what we can do, we've got like this nice little reflection going on. You could also have studio lights at the top and the back if you wanted to as well, just to give it that little bit of finesse. So if we go to add plane, scale it outwards, rotate it just slightly, and then we can go G, bring this across, bring it up. Oops. Where am I going here? This one, for some reason. Press G, bring it up, bring it across. And what you could do with this is make this one an emission. So we've got some nice light coming from that side. We could have like a nice little blue. Just turn up that emission right there. So now you've got this nice little blue hue. And then we could also duplicate this, rotate this by 180. And then we could have another side right here, but this time, edit, press plus. You want to put new, assign, and then we're going to go to emission, and then we'll go to red. So now we've kind of got this nice little bluey, reddy, purpley kind of look in the background. We can now see that we've got reflection on the glass. We can now see that the glass is a little bit full as well. You could also edit the IOR on the glass just by slight, giving it a little bit more of a bevel just around the bottom. And what I'm going to do is change the background as well, so I can make this a little bit darker. We can scale this outwards just a little bit. The camera, because it can only see so far, if we go into the camera settings, we can also improve the end note, bring this back a little bit, and then we can do depth of field to make this look a little bit more rounder, a little bit more detail, and turn down the f-stop so everything blurs in the background. And there you have it. You have a nice little kind of game piece to put in whatever you put it in. Obviously Blender doesn't have the game engine anymore, but it's a good practice for other gaming engines, that this is what you can make. I think practicing on an open source software before anything else is going to be a fantastic way of learning, because that way it gives you kind of an insight into what you're doing in other game engines. So that's the tutorial for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you have a great day. Yeah, bye bye.